This is a tale of courage, justice, and the price of evil. In a kingdom where gold flowed like rivers, there lived a prince whose heart was darker than the deepest mine. What this prince didn't know was that among his servants walked a warrior princess who would decide his fate. The choice she made would echo through the ages, and the price of justice would be paid in blood. Don't skip a second. This is one story you will never forget. Once upon a time in a village called Mthunzi, there stood a magnificent palace unlike any other. Its walls gleamed with gold, its gardens sparkled with silver fountains, and its gates were forged from the finest bronze. But within these beautiful walls lived the most wicked heart in all the land, Prince Sifo. Prince Sifo was the son of King Mandla, a just and beloved ruler. But where the father's heart was filled with compassion, the son's heart burned with cruelty. Every morning, Prince Sifo would wake up and boast to anyone who would listen, "My father owns 1 billion pieces of gold, 1 billion pieces of silver, and 1 billion pieces of bronze. I am the richest prince in all of Africa." The servants would bow their heads in fear, not out of respect, but because they knew Prince Sifo's terrible temper. He would beat them for the smallest mistakes, take their food when he was bored, and force them to work from sunrise to sunset without rest. The people of Mthunzi lived in constant fear of their future king. One scorching afternoon, Prince Sifo rode his magnificent black stallion through the village streets. The horse's hooves thundered against the dusty ground as people scattered like leaves in the wind. Mothers grabbed their children, merchants closed their stalls, and everyone dropped to their knees and bowed as the prince passed. Everyone except one. Standing by the well was a young servant girl named Namsa. She was drawing water for the palace kitchen, her simple brown dress dusty from work. When she heard the approaching hooves, she looked up calmly and continued her task. She did not bow. Prince Sifo pulled his horse to a violent stop, dust swirling around them. His eyes blazed with fury. "You dare stand in my presence without bowing? Do you not know who I am?" Namsa straightened her back and looked directly into his eyes. "I know exactly who you are, Prince Sifo." The prince's face turned red with rage. He dismounted his horse and raised his hand to strike her. "I will teach you respect." But before his hand could fall, a powerful voice boomed across the courtyard. "Sifo, stop." King Mandla approached, his royal robes flowing behind him. Though he was growing old, his presence still commanded respect. "You will not harm this girl." "But father, she disrespected me." "She refused to bow." The king's eyes were filled with disappointment. A true king earns respect through his actions, not through fear. "How many times must I tell you? When I am gone, you will rule these people. They should love you, not fear you." Prince Sifo's jaw clenched, but he stepped back. "Yes, father." King Mandla turned to Namsa with kind eyes. "Forgive my son, child. Continue your work." As the king and prince walked away, Namsa's heart pounded. She had kept her secret safe, but barely. For you see, Namsa was not just any servant girl. She was Princess Namsa, daughter of the mighty Zulu king Shaka, ruler of the most powerful kingdom in the region. Months earlier, King Shaka had planned to wage war against Mthunzi, but Princess Namsa had pleaded with him. "Father, let me go to their kingdom first. Let me see if there are good people worth saving before we destroy everything." Her father had been reluctant, but he admired his daughter's compassionate heart. "Very well, my daughter. But if you are discovered, or if you signal for help, my warriors will come like thunder." So Princess Namsa had disguised herself as a servant and entered the palace of Mthunzi. 4 months, she had watched and waited, hoping to find goodness in Prince Sifo's heart. She had seen glimpses of it in King Mandla, but the prince seemed beyond redemption. Days passed, and King Mandla's health began to fail. The wise old king called his son to his bedside. "Sifo, my time is coming to an end. Promise me you will be a good king to our people." Prince Sifo knelt beside his father's bed, but his eyes held no warmth. "I promise, father." King Mandla died that very night, and with him died the last hope for Prince Sipho's redemption. Within days of becoming king, Prince Sipho's true nature exploded like a volcano. He tripled the taxes, forcing families to choose between food and paying the crown. He took half of all grain harvests for himself, leaving children hungry. But worst of all, he began taking young maidens from their families to serve in his court, treating them as his personal property. Namsa watched in horror as her fellow servants were dragged away in tears. She saw fathers weeping as their daughters were stolen, mothers falling to their knees in despair. The entire kingdom was drowning in suffering. One evening, as Namsa swept the palace floors, she overheard King Sipho talking to his advisor. "Tomorrow, we take 50 more girls from the villages. I want the prettiest ones for myself, and the rest can work in the mines." That night, Namsa made her decision. She could not watch this evil continue any longer. She climbed to the highest tower of the palace and lit a fire, the signal she had arranged with her father. The next morning, as King Sipho sat on his golden throne counting his coins, a servant burst into the throne room. "My king, there are warriors approaching. Thousands of them." King Sipho laughed arrogantly. "Impossible! Who would dare attack me? I have 1 billion pieces of gold, 1 billion pieces of silver, and 1 billion pieces of bronze. I can buy any army." But his laughter died in his throat as the massive doors of the throne room exploded open. Through the smoke and dust marched Princess Namsa, no longer dressed as a servant but in the magnificent warrior attire of Zulu royalty. Her spear gleamed in the sunlight, and her shield bore the symbol of King Shaka. Behind her came 50 of the finest Zulu warriors, their war chants echoing through the palace halls. King Sipho stumbled backward, his face pale with terror. Who are you?" "I am Princess Namsa, daughter of King Shaka of the Zulu nation. For months, I have served in your palace, hoping to find good in your heart. But you have proven yourself to be nothing but evil." The false king's voice cracked with fear. You were the servant girl." "I was. And I saw everything. Every cruelty, every injustice, every tear you caused. I gave you chance after chance to change, but you chose darkness." King Sipho fell to his knees, his arrogance crumbling. "Please. I have wealth beyond measure. I can give you anything you want." Princess Namsa's voice was steady and cold. "The only thing I want is justice for the people you have tormented." She raised her spear, and with one swift motion, the reign of the evil king came to an end. The people of Mthunzi poured into the streets, cheering and crying with joy. Families were reunited, the stolen grain was returned, and the crushing taxes were lifted. Princess Namsa stood before the grateful crowd. "People of Mthunzi," she announced, "you are free. My father, King Shaka, offers you protection and friendship. Choose from among yourselves a leader who will serve you with kindness and justice." The people chose wisely, and under their new leadership, Mthunzi became a kingdom of peace and prosperity. Princess Namsa returned to her father's kingdom, but the story of the servant girl who became a liberator spread across all of Africa.